So Ford is telling us all that there's an EV sales slowdown worldwide. We don't want to sell too many EVs because, to be honest, there's just not the demand for it. Now, truthfully, guys, Zeekr, their EV sales are up 89% to be exact versus last year. BYD sales have grown massively this year. The Geely Group sales are up their EV sales are up by 49% this year. EV sales worldwide have increased by 20%. Is Ford telling you the truth, or is the real reason Ford doesn't want to sell too many EVs the fact that it lost $1.1 billion or $50,000 per car they sold? In other words, if you buy an EV from Ford, you're getting it for free, kind of, in a way. Or Ford are giving you $50,000 to buy one of their EVs. It sounds crazy, but yeah. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Yeah, I know that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? But it sort of does, in a way. That's the crazy thing. Fortunately for Ford, only 4% of all cars they sold in the first 6 months of 2024 were electric. 4%. Well, congratulations, Ford. You lost $1.1 billion. Only 4% of your cars were electric. But apparently you're going to revolutionize the company. I hope you do. I actually do like Ford. I like Ford cars. Their EV sales actually grew by 61% in the first 6 months of the year. I like Jim Farley. He's a good guy. He says a lot less bullshit than the other Ford. Not the other Ford. Yeah, actually the other previous Ford CEOs. He's a better CEO than they were. Is he better than Ford's original CEO? Of course not. But now, he's, doing a better job, I think, than some of his rivals, such as Stellantis CEO or General Motors CEO. But at the same time, he's getting paid a lot of money for the company to really flounder. They are floundering, and make no mistake, they are. Ford are becoming a US car company. They are. Think about it. Ford sales, where are they predominantly? North America? Yeah? Even South America as well, Brazil, places like that. But North America predominantly, and China. Well, Ford's finished in China. They're going to declare bankruptcy in China, I'd say, within the next few years. They'll do the same thing that Jeep did, same thing that Mitsubishi have done. They'll leave China. They'll leave behind all their factories, and that's what everyone's doing. I mean, Honda's shutting down factories in China, Nissan's shutting them down. Is it because car sales in China are going down? No, it's because the Chinese local companies are making the cars that people want to buy. So what this means is that Ford as a company are shrinking. This year, I guarantee you I'll be willing to bet everything that I'll ever own, except for my children, that Ford and General Motors, particularly Ford, they will be overtaken by Geely and BYD. Now, if you'd said that a few years ago, people would have thought you were mental. They'd put you in an asylum. They'd say, what? Ford? Nah, Ford, almighty powerful Ford. BYD, never heard of them. Geely, what? Who's Geely? They're going to overtake Ford. You're out of your mind. You're dead set crazy. But Ford, they are on track to just become another Nokia. And when I say Nokia, I think that's actually a really good example because Nokia still exists, right? Nokia, they're still I don't know, what do they do? Sell phones to people? Some of them? A few phones a year, maybe? A couple here and there? Maybe they sell, I don't know, a few thousand. I'm not exactly sure, but to be honest, when you think of I'm going to go buy a new phone, I'm going to go down to the store and buy a new phone, I'm going to go, do you think I'm going to go buy a new Nokia? Can't wait. Going to, line up for the new Nokia? No. No one ever does that. No one ever even thinks I'm going to buy a new Nokia. But when I was a kid, completely different story. No one cared about any other phone. Here in Australia, it was all just Nokia. My entire high school years, it was all Nokia. Everyone, what Nokia model have you got? What Nokia model have you got? Oh, Nokia was Apple. In fact, Nokia wasn't just Apple. Nokia was way bigger than Apple was when I was growing up. Now, yeah, that's Ford, right? Maybe not bankrupt, but just irrelevant. Financial information released by Ford for the second quarter reveals that Ford Model E electric car division lost $1.1 billion. During this period, they sold 24,000 vehicles, or 23,957 to be exact, meaning they lost the equivalent of $47,600 per car sold. Factoring in a pretty poor Q1, Ford E lost $2.5 billion in total this year. They're on track to lose around $5.5 billion by the end of the year. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, that's because Ford's investing so much money into EVs, but they've slowed down all their investments. So I'm not sure you could really say that. I mean, have Ford really spent billions of dollars on building new EVs this year? Where is it all? Anyway, during Q2, Ford sold 536,000 vehicles in North America, a small increase of 1%. Sales were up 3.6% to over 1 million units through the first half of the year. Demand for the carmaker's EVs spiked in Q2, jumping 61% to 24,000 vehicles. If that hadn't have happened, Ford would have lost about 100,000 per vehicle. EVs, though, like I said, they only make up a very small percentage of Ford sales, 4%. It is true, though, guys, there is one thing that I know Ford are doing to give them a bit of credit. Ford are doing what they've done in Europe. Ford waited in Europe for the Ford Explorer that they don't even make themselves. Volkswagen make it, basically. Anyhow, it's an MEB vehicle that Ford make in Europe. They waited until they could get CATL's new Chilean 2.0 battery for that vehicle to give it more range, more affordable lithium iron phosphate battery that's cheap, but not more affordable. It's very, very affordable. And one of the best batteries in the world you can buy. It's sort of a no-brainer. It's like paying for silver and getting gold. That's what Ford did. They waited until they could pay silver money for gold. And that's what they're getting with this new Chilean 2.0 battery. And they plan on using those batteries in North America as well, which is why they're planning to build a factory to manufacture CATL's new Chilean 2.0 lithium iron phosphate batteries, which have the capacity to charge batteries at 560 to 570 kilowatt charging speeds. They lose almost no energy when it's freezing, minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit. They basically are still almost about 90% of the original energy is still left in the batteries. Really advanced batteries and very affordable to manufacture. So I believe Tesla, Ford, and General Motors all are planning on building factories in the US to license that technology and use those batteries in their cars. But that's still a long way away. Ford have got, who knows how long until that happens. Who knows if it even does happen. It might not. Especially considering there is some significant resistance from the government and senators and different politicians in America about letting Ford, Tesla, and GM do that. That said, there are even Chinese battery companies building factories in the US right now. You just haven't heard about it unless you watch every video on this channel. Yeah. Anyhow, all that said, guys, Ford does have a lot of debt. And I've pointed this out in the past. They've got, in fact, astronomical amount of debt. It would look like they have more debt than General Motors, about $141 billion in debt, I think, at some point in time. But the truth is it's not really that bad because a huge percentage of that, about 50% of it, is actually loan debt. So it's like Ford's a bank. It loans in different ways, but essentially it's loaning to different individuals and companies to buy Ford cars. And then you pay Ford back and Ford as the bank makes a bit of money on that. So really a lot of that debt is good debt. Now, when you're looking at other car companies, you're comparing debt, it can be confusing because companies like Toyota have almost no good debt. Right? Almost all Toyota's debt, by the way, Toyota have more debt than anyone else in the world, any other car company, about $190 billion in debt, but almost all of that, 92% I believe, is non-financial debt. Volkswagen Group, on the other hand, the majority of their debt is bad debt, but they have a lot more good debt than Toyota. So there's differences between each car company. But Ford's investment into EVs, it's been enormous. You would believe by now there'd be some payback, and they wouldn't continue to lose this amount of money. I am a little bit surprised to see that they're not really getting any real return on investment so far. I'm kind of wondering why that is. What are Ford doing? Is it inefficient spending? Is it realistically just that they're struggling to mass manufacture them? And if you don't mass manufacture a product, it's sort of like making them by hand. Like if you make a car by hand, it costs an insane amount of money. Is that what Ford are doing here? Are they not being mass produced enough on efficient production lines to make these cars efficiently? I'm not sure. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching.